I have a story for you today. I've been contemplating the sphere of my vocation as part of the Pearl sequence with the gene keys. This particular sphere is also our core sphere. And in this sphere, I happen to have gene key 34 in line 2. It moves from the shadow of force to the Siddhi of majesty by way of the gift of strength. What could that possibly mean? And as I have read and really focused my attention on my internal world and the things that are showing up in my external world, I have something to share. I've had an incredible experience, and the shadow of force is the bane of trying. It's effort, putting effort in and trying. And as I contemplate the gift of strength, it seems to me that a theme for it is let the body speak. That within this gene key, my understanding is that the mind overrides the body. It overrides the rest of our system. And I've been gifted a number of experiences that are waking me up to what happens when I release a little bit of mental control, even if it's happening without my conscious awareness. It's almost as if my mind is really focused on things, but things are happening behind the scenes. And then my mind is like, oh my gosh, would you look at that? So I want to start this story years ago. Back around 2009, I started to hear a voice inside of me. And it was saying, I want to dance. Yeah, it sounded like a great idea. Me too. I'd love to dance. I want to dance. I want to dance. And it started off as a whisper, and it would repeat itself a lot. And then it became a talking voice, a speaking voice. And then it became a shout. This went on for probably 18 months. And when I first heard it, I was like, that sounds like a great idea. Let's dance. What I came to understand over the course of those 18 months was that I really wanted to go and dance in a particular style. And so I started to try different dance classes. And every class I would go to, I would go and I'd have a decent time, but inside it would be, nope, not it. And I kept trying, and that voice kept getting louder. And I kept talking to it. Don't you see I'm trying? Help me find the type of dance you want to dance. I ended up moving, and once I was settled in my new spot, I began looking for dance classes. And what I found surprised the heck out of me. It wasn't the style nor the location that I ever would have anticipated. I ended up driving 45 minutes away from my home up an alpine pass to this dance studio. And I loved it. I loved the style of dance. I loved the community and connection. I had been unemployed for a number of years. I was struggling financially. I was wanting to make friends. I wanted to travel. I wanted all of these things, and they seemed to be prohibited for me. I kept trying to create them in my life. Hey, how do I? I know. Hey, how do I? I know. And none of it was working. But this dancing thing, I started to go to dance class, and everything in my life changed. I started to receive everything I was wanting. I showed up and I started to dance, and I loved it. My body loved it. My body changed. I dropped the excess weight I had been carrying for years effortlessly. I made friends. I had girlfriends, and we started traveling together. And then I started teaching this style of dance. My life was full. My life was complete. I even had a relationship. Every single thing I had previously wanted came true once I started going to dance class. Well, fast forward quite a few years later, life happened, things occurred, and I once again found myself in a position of what I'll call dis-ease. I'd had a number of surgeries. My body was suffering from chronic pain. I had accidentally gained over 50 pounds. It was hard to move. It was hard to take care of myself. And this is where the gene keys found me. And as I began contemplating the gene keys, along with other things, I followed a belief up off of the floor and out of chronic pain and back into my life. I believed I was healing. I believed that every single thing that was happening in my life was happening for me, that I was now on a path of healing, that this chronic pain was in the rear view mirror and behind me. As an ex-CrossFit competitor, as an ex-competitive dancer, I received what felt like the strangest urge. Within me, all of a sudden, arose a great desire to learn and practice Tai Chi. Tai Chi? What even is that? What is that? I don't even know those words. Where are those words coming from? Why would something within me start informing me to go find Tai Chi? And when I found it, no, the mind resisted. I'm not going to go stand around for an hour and wave my arms. No. But I did. And I did. I followed that urge. It was within me. It was if something within my chest or in my upper abdomen was propelling me, compelling me, pushing me, pressing me forward. In my spare time, I would find myself Googling about Tai Chi. I would find myself watching different instructors, even though the mind was absolutely certain this was not for me. Surely I'd be getting back to gymnastics anytime soon. But And there weren't any Tai Chi courses in my area. I kept looking, and one day I found one, and I went. And while the mind resisted, the body fell in love as I stood in this dark, cool room in a meditative state, transferring my weight from one leg to the other, running energy through my system. I began to heal. The light within my body began to expand. Within about 6 weeks, 40 pounds fell off of my body. I started a different physical therapy place. The pain started to decrease. My strength started to increase. I fell in love with the art and practice of Tai Chi. I began studying Qigong and Chinese medicine. And then really recently, and I'm in the Pearl Retreat, we are contemplating our sphere of vocation and the pathway of initiative. I learned through initiation. As my heart opens, as I walk the sequences of the gene keys, unraveling the shadows within my DNA and enlightening myself from the inside out, my heart opens and expands. I naturally want to share this with the world. I am naturally compelled and invited even to share with the world. This is all going on behind the scenes. And I show up to a group event. I meet with a group of women once a month. It is so lovely. And at the end of our time together, they play a meditation and they play sound bowls. I happen to be very picky about the meditations I partake in, the meditations I listen to. And so they're not always something that I want to give my full attention to. And I happen to be maybe the one person on the planet who doesn't really care for sound bowls. They don't seem to have a great effect on my body. And so as I sat in between 4 other women, I didn't feel it. This wasn't my vibe, but I knew exactly what I desired. I stood up and I quietly moved to the back of the room. And I performed my Tai Chi and Qigong for the duration of the meditation and the sound bowls. And it felt so fulfilling, rewarding, and nurturing and good. And at the end, when everything was complete, 3 of the women, will you teach us? You have to teach us how to do that. Will you have a class on Tai Chi? My heart exploded. Are you serious? I have been wanting to play with people and share Tai Chi and the gene keys and all of what I have been experiencing with people. This is my dream. Are you kidding? Of course I will teach you. And you know where I'll teach you? I'll teach you in one of my favorite places, out in nature. We'll meet in the park. How does that sound? And so on this Monday, 2 days ago, I initiated the first moving meditations in the Arboretum. A small group of us gathered and we moved. It was so beautiful. I loved it so much. And their responses were that they also loved it. You're not going to believe what happened next. As if this wasn't enough, how could it possibly expand into something even better? As I was leaving, an organic invitation to share the gene keys opened up, and I started to talk. And then I sat down, and 90 minutes later, we realized we had just had a complete gene keys sharing session with one another. The women in the group said, this is exactly what I've been wanting. I want conversations like this. I've been wanting to understand more about the gene keys. I've been wanting to understand more about myself. Could we do this regularly? Yes, only if you want to make my wildest dreams come true. And so I've just been amazed and dazzled by the gene keys. And this is what I mean by they come alive and awake within our lives, within our daily experience. My mind didn't do any of this. And in fact, my mind is right now struggling to understand what happened, even as I hold it and keep reminding it doesn't have to understand. Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it magical? Thank you so much for listening to my intimate audios and being a part of my contemplative journey of self-discovery. You are invited to join me. I lead an intimacy circle every other Thursday online. I am leading moving meditations. If you happen to live in my area, please come join me on some Monday morning. You might even want to stick around and join the Gene Keys conversation that happens afterwards. Please visit the show notes to be invited to all of the initiations. And until I hear from you, because you are invited to share your reflections, comments, questions, and shares with me through email or on social media, wherever you found this audio. Take such good care, and I look forward to our next connection.